Morning has a peculiar magic, subtle, quiet, and often overlooked. It slips in the world like a gentle whisper, not demanding attention, yet carrying the power to shape everything that follows. For most people, morning is just another slice of time, an alarm, a cup of coffee, a hurried routine. But for those who understand the art of directing their own lives, morning becomes the most important meeting of the day, a meeting with oneself. This story begins with a man named Daniel, a man not unlike many others. He wasn't failing in life, but he wasn't thriving either. He lived in that gray territory between doing fine and living fully. His days felt predictable, his energy muted, and his ambition, once fiery, had dimmed into glowing embers one day. After a series of small disappointments that accumulated into one heavy burden, Daniel stumbled upon an old video of Jim Rohn. It was titled, "Speak 7 Lines to Yourself Every Morning." The idea struck him, not because it was new, but because it felt oddly familiar, like a truth he had ignored for too long. What followed was the beginning of a transformation, quiet at first, then powerful, then unstoppable. The morning that changed everything, it was a gray Monday when Daniel decided to try the practice. Outside, the sky carried the color of steel. Inside, his mind felt the same. He sat at the edge of his bed, back slightly hunched, palms resting on his thighs. His breath was shallow, his mind already drifting to emails, deadlines, and worries. But then he remembered 7 lines. Just 7 lines. He inhaled deeply and whispered, 1. Today, I choose to be happy. The words felt foreign, almost uncomfortable. Happiness is a choice? He had always treated happiness like weather, pleasant when it arrived, regrettable when it didn't. But something inside him shifted as he spoke the words. Choose. It implied agency, responsibility, power. He said again, louder this time. Today, I choose to be happy. He imagined Jim Rohn's calm, wise voice reminding him that happiness doesn't fall out of the sky. It is cultivated, built, practiced. And for the first time in a long time, Daniel felt a quiet warmth settle in his chest. The second seed, he took a breath and continued. 2. I am grateful for what I have. Those words softened him. He looked around his room, not luxurious, but safe. He felt the warm floor beneath his feet, remembered the smell of breakfast his mother used to cook when he was a child, and thought of the few loyal friends he still had. Gratitude, he realized, was not about ignoring problems. It was about refusing to let them blind him to his blessings. He felt his shoulders relax, his breath deepen. Something heavy loosened inside him. Belief as fueled his voice steadier. He spoke the third affirmation. 3. I believe I can achieve great things. At first, a sting of doubt clawed at him. Great things? Him? The same man who often abandoned goals halfway? The same man who took the safe route every time? But he held on to the sentence. He didn't whisper this one. He declared it. I believe I can achieve great things. He remembered Jim Rohn's words. If you believe in your future, your mind will begin to create paths toward it. Belief was not arrogance. Belief was permission. Permission to try, fail, learn, rise, and try again, and Daniel felt something awaken inside him. Not certainty, not confidence, but possibility, and possibility was enough. The power of control the fourth line came like a grounding force. For I will focus on what I can control. This one hit him like truth dropping straight into his soul. And so much of his anxiety came from trying to influence things that were never his responsibility. People's opinions, unpredictable circumstances, outcomes beyond his reach. But he realized something. Life becomes lighter when you stop carrying things that aren't yours. Every problem he had ever magnified suddenly felt smaller. He spoke the line again, slowly. I will focus on what I can control. The day no longer felt overwhelming. It felt manageable. The courage to grow the fifth affirmation made him sit a little taller. 5. I welcome challenges as opportunities to grow. He had spent years avoiding challenges, mistaking comfort for safety, routine for stability. But comfort had quietly become a cage. The edges of his life were closing in, not because he lacked capability, but because he lacked courage. He whispered the line one more time. I welcome challenges as opportunities to grow. and it felt like opening a door inside himself. The road to consistency then came the sixth sentence, a commitment he had long ignored. 6. I commit to getting better every day. Not dramatically, not instantly, but consistently. He realized that great achievements are not built in giant leaps. They are built in small steps, repeated daily. If I can improve by 1% today, he told himself, I will be a different man in 1 year. The thought thrilled him. Improvement didn't require perfection. Only effort, only intention, only consistency. A life that gives. Finally, he ended with the seventh and most transformative affirmation. 7. Today, I will make a positive difference. Something inside him expanded. He had spent years thinking success was about getting. But Jim Rohn had taught him something deeper. Meaning comes from giving. Even a smile, a kind word, a helping hand could change the direction of someone's day. He spoke the line again with quiet determination. Today, I will make a positive difference. And with that, something in the spirit aligned, a compass pointing toward a life that mattered. The first 30 days, Daniel committed to doing the 7 lines for 30 days. Not as a ritual, not as superstition, but as mental training, exercise for the mind. The first few days were awkward. His voice sounded unnatural. His thoughts argued back, and his old habits mocked him. But something fascinating happened around day 10. He began waking up with anticipation, not dread. He began noticing small blessings he had ignored before. He began catching himself thinking more constructively. He began recognizing challenges as mental workouts. He began making better choices, small ones, but consistent ones. That by day 20. The affirmations no longer felt like declarations. They felt like truths. They felt like home. The shift one afternoon, Daniel was dealing with a difficult task at work. Normally, it would have stressed him out. But that day, something shifted. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? He thought, this is one of my growth opportunities. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, he felt focused. Instead of complaining, he took action by the end of the task. He realized he had something he hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. How the world responded, people noticed a change in him. He spoke differently, more grounded. He moved differently, more purposeful. He looked different. Even his posture had changed. His friends asked what he was doing. His colleagues wondered why he seemed calmer. His family noticed his new warmth. Daniel never said it was magic. He never said it was easy. He simply said, I started talking to myself differently. The real lesson one morning, as he repeated the 7 lines, Daniel understood something profound. Affirmations were not magic spells. They didn't change the world. They changed him. And when he changed, the world responded. He realized that each of the 7 lines shaped a different part of his identity. Choosing happiness shaped his attitude. Gratitude shaped his perspective. Belief in himself shaped his ambition. Focusing on control shaped his discipline. Embracing challenges shaped his resilience. Continuous improvement shaped his habits. Making a difference shaped his purpose. Together, they reshaped his life. The test life, of course, did not magically become perfect. 1 month later, Daniel faced one of the hardest weeks he had ever experienced. A major project failed. He was criticized unjustly by a supervisor. A close friend disappointed him, and he fell sick for 2 days. The old Daniel would have spiraled. Anger, frustration, self-pity. But the new Daniel did something else. He spoke the 7 lines anyway. He chose happiness despite discomfort. He counted his blessings despite exhaustion. He believed in himself despite setbacks. He focused on what he could control. He embraced the situation as growth. He continued improving. He still tried to brighten someone else's day. IT didn't cure his problems instantly, but it kept him anchored. It kept him moving. It kept him from drowning in negativity. And that was the true power of affirmations. They were not meant for easy days. They were meant for hard ones. Transformation. By the end of 3 months, Daniel was not only more confident, he was more alive. His mindset had expanded. His energy had returned. His goals had clarity. His habits had strengthened. His relationships had improved. He was no longer drifting through life. He was directing it. He felt something he had secretly longed for. Control, purpose, momentum. And all of it started with speaking 7 simple lines every morning. Passing on months later, a friend of Daniel's, struggling through his own battles, visited him late one evening. They talked for hours. The friend admitted he felt stuck, lost, and afraid of failing. Daniel listened quietly, then shared his story. He didn't preach. He didn't impose. He simply offered the same advice that had changed his life. Speak 7 lines to yourself every morning, not to manipulate the world, but to strengthen your mind. It will feel strange at first, but if you stay with it, if you live it, it will change you. The friend agreed to try, and thus the transformation continued, passed from one person to another like a quiet gift. The journey continues years later. Daniel would reflect on the moment everything changed. It wasn't the day he achieved a major milestone. It wasn't the day he received recognition. It wasn't even the day he overcame a major challenge. It was the morning he decided to speak 7 sentences to himself about a small decision, a simple habit, a quiet practice. But it reshaped his mindset. It rewired his identity. It rebuilt his habits. It redirected his future. And he learned the greatest truth Jim Rohn ever taught. Your life gets better when you get better. Not instantly, not dramatically, but consistently. Every morning, every choice, every step. The 7 lines of Daniel could summarize the essence of his journey. He would leave the world with these 7 lines, spoken slowly, intentionally, with conviction. Today, I choose to be happy. I am grateful for what I have. I believe I can achieve great things. I will focus on what I can control. I welcome challenges as opportunities to grow. I commit to getting better every day. Today, I will make a positive difference. 7 lines, 7 seeds, 7 beginnings. The morning never felt the same again, and neither did